Do you find yourself often in meetings with higher ups, people who are senior leaders in your industry, in your organization, and you're noticing that sometimes you come across with individuals who are rude and you are shocked by it, or maybe you don't know how to respond to it, but at the same time, you want to appear professional and really give the value that you're there for. So if that's been a challenge for you, then this is the video just for you, because in this video, what I'm going to share with you are 5 smart ways on how you can respond to individuals who are rude at high-level meetings in your workplace. And when you come away with this video, you're going to have a transformation on how to view conversations, on how to view individuals that as well that you perceive as being rude to you. All right, so there's 5 tips and we're going to go through these one by one. So let's dive in. I'm in my car right now and I am excited to be chatting with you. So let's go right away. Tip number 1. Tip number 1 is to contextualize. So what does this mean? When you contextualize something, it means that you understand the context behind it, which also means that you know the big picture. You can see the big picture of what is going on. Because oftentimes when we come across individuals that we perceive as being rude to us, what happens is that instinctively our mind individualizes. So we individualize. In other words, we say, they're being rude to me. Why are they rude to me? I don't deserve to be rude to. I'm just trying to add value here. And we individualize it as they are rude. This is something that they are doing. This is something that they're saying, right? So that's individualization. So in this tip, what I'm saying is that contextualize instead of individualize, because this is exactly the moment you are able to contextualize. Now you can see the big picture of, wait a minute, what's really going on here? What is really what that other individual is struggling with? What are they really frustrated with? What are they seeing that perhaps I'm not, which is an answer to why they are being rude, why they are responding that way. And the moment you can contextualize instead of individualize, that's the moment where you don't take it so personally. Have you ever thought about this? When you individualize a person's response, you don't see the big picture of why that's happening, but at the same time, it's easy to feel like they're doing something to me. It's easy to feel like this is a personal attack, or this is a personal direction to you. And this is the moment when you contextualize, you no longer take it personally. And that is when you can genuinely be present and poised and professional, because that's where we want to be. So the other benefit to contextualizing instead of individualizing is that now you can truly be open to understanding what is driving that person's behaviors. And at the same time, it can help you to understand, well, what are some things, what are the key issues here in this conversation that I can add value to? So it helps you to be more creative as well. When you individualize, now there is credit and blame to be given and taken, and at the same time, we take it personally. So that is tip number 1. The first smart way to handle rude individuals is to contextualize. The second tip is to lead, right? So you'll notice that every tip that I share, it spells out a word. This is an acronym. So the acronym is C.L.E.A.R, C.L.E.A.R. So every tip that I'm going to give you begins with one of those letters. So the first letter was C, contextualize. Second letter is L, which is to lead, right? You are stepping up into greater and greater levels of leadership in your industry. You're in this high-level meeting because you want to become an executive. You want to become a senior leader. You want to be taken seriously, and you want your value to be contributed and have impact in your organization. So this requires you to lead. But make no mistake about it, when you're leading, it's not just about your skills and your credentials, which you do have, and it's definitely not about the work history of achievements that you do have. This is leading in the person that you will become. Because who you become as a leader as you step up into executive levels, that is far more important than the skill sets and the previous achievements that you have. Who you become. So in the moment when you are in a conversation, you perceive a senior leader or a peer executive being rude to you, this is where you lead by example. Who do you want to become in the next level of your career path, where you see yourself going next, the vision of the future you want to create for yourself inside of this industry? Who do you want to become? This is important to have that clarity. So you step up and lead by example. The moment you can lead by example, plus, and you add it to tip number 1, which is to contextualize. Now, guess what? You're no longer taking it personally. You're no longer reactive. You see the big picture of why this is happening, why they're conversing that way, why they come across that way. And also you're leading by example as well. So now you're present, you're poised, you're composed, and you can be positioned as a leader. Tip number 3, that's C.L.E.A.R. So tip number 3 is E, and that is to expand. Oftentimes when we're in the moment, and in the moment we perceive somebody is speaking with us and they are rude to us, oftentimes we are in that moment and we are just focused on what's going on right now, the shock of what just happened. What did they say to me? What are they perceiving of me? Is this a conversation that I want to be a part of? So we're so much in the moment. But keep in mind that when you are in high-level meetings, you're with senior leaders, executives, your peers as well, and these are stakeholders. These individuals, the upper echelons in an organization, they are very future-paced. They are visionaries, which means that their mind frame, their frame of mind, their time horizons are expanded very far out. So this is why it's important that if you're in the moment in the conversation, if someone says something to you or behaves in a way you perceive as being rude, that you take this moment to expand your time-space horizons to match theirs. Because when they are reacting or responding the way you perceive as being rude, their operational system, their operations internally is very forward-facing as visionaries. So when you expand your own time horizons to far out, this is where it gives you an opportunity, your mind an opportunity to contribute the value you were wanting to contribute in the first place. It's when we are so caught up in the now, when we're so caught up in the moment of what's happening right now, that sometimes the patterns of our brain, the thinking, becomes reactionary instead of being proactive. So that is why this tip is to expand. You're expanding your time horizons. And mind you, this takes practice. It takes practice because as you go up to higher and higher levels of leadership, in order to position yourself as a leader in your industry, to be among the peers of senior leadership, it's important to expand your time horizons and this be your natural operating system to have that forward-facing, the visionary, that type of personality, right? So that is the next tip. The tip after expanding. Next is A, because C.L.E.A.R. So the second last tip is to acknowledge. A is for acknowledge. What do I mean by that? Right now, previously I shared with you in the moment we're sometimes so caught up, and this is where you got to have that self-awareness. How do you react when you perceive someone being rude to you? What is your normal reactionary pattern? What do you naturally tend towards? It could be, for example, you find yourself defending your position or defending your argument. Or it could be you freeze, that you're so shocked at what just happened and you're in the now of the moment of shock. It could be that you don't know what to say next, so you try to bring a bunch of thoughts in, your thoughts get mumbled, and therefore it comes out stuttering. That could be your pattern. So this is important to understand. What is your natural pattern of when those moments happen? How have you been responding? Now, this is your pattern. So what does this mean? Your pattern is a neurological pattern as well of behaviors, and that is what your brain is accustomed to responding. So you have been programmed to respond this way upon the perception of rudeness. That's how you've been programmed to respond. So that's why when you acknowledge, what this means is having some sort of a phrase that you say that breaks the pattern of how you naturally respond. Because if you don't break the pattern, then you will always respond that way, consistent with your programming. You'll respond that way. If it is freezing, then you'll be consistent with the programming of freezing. If it is responding by argumentation, then you'll be consistent with your programming of arguing when people respond, when people are perception of being rude to you. So that's why you want to break the pattern. To break the pattern is really as simple as having a phrase that you come up with that does not require thought. It's simply an automatic acknowledgement. So for example, an example phrase of acknowledgement could be something like, I can appreciate your perspective, right? Or it could be, I can appreciate how this is frustrating, right? So you see that phrase is something that is well practiced. It is your go-to phrase. It's kind of like a ledger where you just have you lead with a phrase that breaks your neurological pattern, your programming patterns, so that now you said something and it requires no thought from you because that is what you've chosen. You consciously choose a phrase that acknowledges the conversation, but it doesn't participate in rudeness. It just acknowledges it. You're not participating by being rude in return. You are acknowledging the situation at hand. I can appreciate your perspective. So when you have an acknowledgement phrase, it breaks your neurological pattern your patterns of behavior. And now it gives your brain just that moment to be able to respond in a professional way. It gives your brain that breather to be able to respond in a way you don't regret later, or in a way that you are satisfied with the way that you responded, right? So this is an important tip. A is for acknowledgement. So let's summarize what we have so far. These are 5 tips on smart ways to respond to someone you perceive as being rude to you in high-level meetings, right? So this was the acronym C.L.E.A.R, C-L-E-A-R. And so far we've covered C, which is to contextualize. L, which is to lead by example. E, which is to expand your time horizons. A is to acknowledge, to have a programmed response, right? To break the pattern of your brain in that moment. And finally, the last one, R, is to reconcile. Reconcile, that is the last smart way. And what do I mean by reconcile? What are you reconciling? You see, how we experience other people, the way that we perceive them as being rude, how we experience others in meetings and in conversations is really a reflection of how we are. It's a reflection of our own inner world. You see, when we label someone as rude, or we label their behaviors or their actions as rude or being rude, or this is a rude person, this is an opinion we have about this other person. It's a judgment we have. And not everyone would agree with our judgment, but this is a judgment we have in that moment for that individual. And it's really based on our perceptions. You see, our perceptions are guided by our values, but more deeper than that, it's guided by what we see in our inner world, and it's a reflection of who we are. So whenever we are hurt, if you've been offended or you've been hurt by someone who you perceived as being rude, this is really an opportunity for you to explore how and why this experience has happened. How and why in that moment, based on what they said or did, or based on what they didn't do or what they didn't say, how and why you had that experience, and how it has led to that feeling of being hurt or offended. It's an opportunity to explore that. Because you see, everybody out there, everyone that you have interactions with, everyone that you have meetings with, they are there to show you parts about yourself that you may not realize. They're there to show you how and to guide you to becoming authentic in your relationships, authentic in your meetings as well, and how you express yourself. And every person serves that purpose that we have the opportunity and the privilege to interact with. Right? So when it comes to the reactions that you have, when you dig really deeply as to the why and how that is a reaction for you, what you're going to realize is that there have been emotions throughout your life that have been layered and layered upon themselves. So this is layers and layers of emotions that have been built up from your lived in experiences. And the summation of those are in your subconscious mind, and these affect our perceptions. So this is where you can explore and understanding that your own reactions to it, whether they be feeling hurt or offended by it, your own reactions are the symptoms that you feel based on those layers and layers of emotions. So this is why it's important. Everybody's there to help you learn more about you, and everybody's there to help you to be more authentic to others. And so this is where encounters that you have with other people that you perceive to be rude, and whenever you're in higher level meetings, these encounters is really an opportunity for you to reconcile all of those emotions. Reconcile them. There are layers and layers of it that we don't even know, that we are subconscious to it. So the moment you can reconcile these emotions is the moment where you can feel free from feeling that this is hurting me, feeling that their behaviors are offensive, or feeling really offended by or taking it personally. And this is where you can truly be your authentic self. And from your authentic self, where you know that you have nothing to prove, you have nothing to hide. And then when you speak and you contribute to these high-level meetings, that you don't take things personally. And that is genuinely the root of how you can have presence, be present with poise, and have the composure that you want to be seen as a leader in your industry. So with that, I hope this was very foundational for you. If you really had an aha moment from this, I want to hear from you. So comment below. And by the way, if you're in these conversations and sometimes you're thinking to yourself, well, what if it's really not a situation I want to be in and I want to leave? I want to exit the conversation. What do I do next? So the next video I have showing up will show you how do you leave a conversation if you really do decide that this is not what I don't want to stay in this conversation. Maybe it is not a healthy conversation. Maybe this is not a conversation that is productive right now, and you want to leave a conversation without being rude yourself. then stay tuned for the next video coming up, and I'm going to give you some professional tips on how to do that in a way that you are not going to be offending others as well. So stay tuned and I'll see you there.